So hello guys. I just wanted to say something about kind of a trend that I've been seeing on most social media handles where a lot of people speak about, EPI, that's the programming interviews and the kind of questions they ask about, although that's changing now. Yeah, more and more you see that's changing. It's way more AI and asking you more technical questions about your stack and stuff. But aside from that, I kind of saw like kind of more of some conversations towards, oh, why ask someone questions that don't have anything to do with the job they're trying to do, and why ask someone questions. That's when you talk about the, linked list, talking about the, those iterations or those um, optimization questions, right? Those brute force questions, and why those questions? Why are you trying to have someone, you know, memorize those questions to just come and ask them, and then they will never use it at the job? And prior to doing this whole series on reading the book Element of Engineering Programming, which is basically dwelling on solving these kind of questions and you know getting you to like get familiarized with these patterns, seeing these patterns in maybe solving solutions, recursion, and the rest, right? I was also of the opinion of what's the reason for this, and I kind of had a wow moment recently when I was doing a chore, right? So there is this tank stand, or will I say just a tank in my house where it needed cleaning. It was due for cleaning, and so myself and my cousin had to clean this stuff, and it was it was I don't even know the word to use anymore, but I don't want to sound cliche in a sense because it was brute force the way we've been doing it. What we do is we pump out the water that is already in the tank up to a certain level, and then we scoop the rest with the bucket, right? So with my cousin down in the we're down in the tank, scooping out the water, scooping out the water. Something hit me immediately. I was like, this is brute force, like something connected, and I immediately saw that whole process as brute force, and immediately that hit me. I was like, no, 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 there should be a better way to solve this problem, right? So I was like, why don't we just attach a hose to the pump that already sank into the tank, and get it to the level that's a bit deeper, right? And that was the optimization. That was the optimization right there, and that's what we tried to do. We tried different approaches to doing that, where eventually we got where we got there, and basically the system was optimized, and that brought me to understand that these questions are not necessarily there for you to memorize and come and you know, blot it out, right? It's actually there for you to change the way you think, to change the way you see problems, and to change the way you approach problems. When you see a problem, is it brute force? Can I optimize it? Is there a way to optimize it? Is there somewhere there is waste in repeated motions, right? Is there a way to make this better, right? That is exactly what these problems are about, helping you see patterns and helping you see this thing. So I would say it's not necessarily not being used in your workplace. It's used, but you don't get to see it in, like, maybe let's say you're a front end developer, right? It's now down to, oh, this list is doing a lot of things. Can I get it down to just doing one thing? And this list is doing just one thing. Can I, improve it, or like write another function? I say pro list, right? This function, right, is doing just one thing. Can I improve it? Can I expand it, right? And can I just write another function that would take in this function and expand it? Is there a brute force here? Is there something I can do to expand? So basically, we see it within the job, but we don't see directly as a brute force or whatever we are doing, but we either way see it, and it's a changing of the mind. It's a changing of the mind, because it changes your mind from seeing problems as, oh, what's the simplest way to do this, is there an optimized way to do this. It also teaches about the system. How does memory work, right? When I append to a list, what does that mean? What does that do? Does that go through the whole process, or does it just push out a next pointer? to attach to that number, or what's the process. So basically it changes the way you think, and I think that's the main stuff when it comes to this engineering programming stuff. It's not just about it's not just about how it's just not just about memorizing these things. It's about seeing patterns, changing the way you think. And yeah, I guess that's where I am at right now. Probably some other things will click, but I just wanted to say that because I kind of see a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this doesn't make any sense." But the more you do these problems intentionally, not just trying to memorize them, you kind of see these patterns in the way you think change in a bit. And there are some other situations, probably I will still share those, but this is one that stood out to me. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. See you on the very next one. Bye.